For you squirrel hunters who like a little bit more power on your squirrel gun, as far as scope goes, like I do, will be impressed with this scope right here. This scope has a little bit of backstory for me, which I'm going to get to in just a second, but for the power range, the clarity, and the price, this scope is outstanding. This is the Bushnell Ultra HD, Legend Ultra HD. It's a 4.5-by-14-by-44 with a side focus. I got the mil dot reticle, backstory on that. Let's go through some specs. The weight on the scope is 18.7 ounces. So it's not really a scope that I want to hunk around on my gun while I'm hunting with my dogs due to weight, but I will because I like the added power. Length on it is 14.7 inches. Your eye relief is pretty generous. That's 3.6 inches. Your adjustments are 1/4 inch at 100 yards. And your adjustment range is 55 minutes of angle. It has a rain guard HD coating. They're fully multi-coated lenses. It's a one-piece tube. I've already talked about it having side focus instead of an adjustable objective, water fog and shock proof, and it has the fast focus eyepiece, which I really like. It's nice that I don't have to undo a screw here and back the piece out and then lock it down. It's nice to just be able to focus it right there. Alright, so I said I had some backstory on this scope. So I owned a Legend scope at one point in time that I ordered from Natchez. I can't tell you how many years ago. That scope probably cost me $150. I mounted that scope on a Ruger X17 17 HMR, and if you know Ruger makes proprietary rings for their guns. So this was before I realized that rings needed to be lapped. So not knowing that those rings needed to be lapped, I couldn't get my group to move any further to the right than I wanted it to. So out of frustration one day, I had my Leatherman tool on. I was trying to make those adjustments, and I got that Leatherman tool out and cranked on the windage turret. Now it had already been maxed out, and I figured I could get a few more clicks out of it. Well, I ended up stripping it, and I felt bad about that. So I just stuck the scope up in the closet for a few years, and I got to thinking about it last year or a year and a half ago, and I said, you know what, I'm going to send this back to Bushnell. I'm going to write them a note and let them know I damaged the scope and that I'd like to pay for it, and I would ask them to replace it. Well, a couple of weeks went by, I wasn't paying no attention. All of a sudden, a box showed up on the doorstep, and I was curious because I had only received that they had received my product via postcard. Opened the box up. Here's what I had. I had a brand new Legend Ultra HD at no cost to me. I damaged the original scope. My fault. Was willing to pay for it. Told them so. But they decided, and I'm sure there are people that have had bad experiences with Bushnell. I had a really good one. This scope, MSRP is $299, so I gained in scope, and they gained a customer for sure. So that's my backstory on it. So instead of attaching it to another 17, I attached it to a 22 Squirrel rifle. Supposedly it's got something called ED Prime glass. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I can tell you the clarity and the crispness of this scope, to me, warrants a scope of somewhere around $350 to $400, maybe even more. Right now, currently running to October the 19th, 2013, you're going to be looking at a $50 instant savings when you buy one of these scopes, which is great. Of course, that's a snapshot in time. There's also a 100% money back guarantee. If you do not like the scope, they will take it back, and I'm telling you, if you buy one, you're really going to like it. It's an outstanding scope. So let's take a look at the reticles now. So the reticle on the Bushnell, to me, is a little bit thinner. The mil dots are a little bit smaller. That aids and helps me when I'm squirrel hunting. I like the thinness of this crosshair setup. The only other scope that I have in mil dot that I've got to compare it to is that of the Clear Ridge. So let's take a look at it right now. The Clear Ridge crosshairs are a little bit thicker. It's more what I would call set up for a centerfire rifle. The mil dots are a little bit thicker. Still love that Clear Ridge scope. I can't tell you that I don't. So about the cheapest I've been able to find this scope on the web is about 250 bucks. Okay, you get a $50 instant savings. That's a $200 scope, and I'm telling you, the glass is amazing on this scope. And I mean, I hope you're able to tell from the reticle shot how awesome it is. Anyway, I hunted with this one a little bit last year. It has been a great scope to hunt with. It's such a pleasure to use. So let's take a look at some of the features on it. So it's got side focus, which is new to me. I've never had a scope with side focus. You can see right there, 400 to infinity. It's a very smooth knob to move. Your lineup area is right there, and it focuses down to 20 yards, which is pretty nice. You know, I like something that focuses down to 10, but I can get by with 20. Most of the Nikon Buckmaster series is a 50-yard minimum, and 50 yards just doesn't get it on a rimfire scope, although they're not dedicated rimfire scopes. Take a look at the turret adjustment. It's a 1/4 inch at 100 yards. It's finger adjustable, and it's also resettable for 0. You got your fast focus eyepiece back there. Your power ring, pretty smooth. Let me get that to focus for you. So you got 4.5 all the way up to 14. And the red on the 14, to some extent, and I don't understand mil dot totally, is that it lines up perfectly with the mils. Only reason I needed high BKL rings on this rifle was based on the objective bell of that scope. So that's the Bushnell Legend Ultra HD, a fantastic scope worth every dollar you would pay for it. I am so satisfied that Bushnell sent me this scope in replacement of my old Legend scope. Well, there's another quality piece of glass on a good squirrel rifle. Hope you enjoyed it. Get your hands on one of these Bushnells if you can. It is fantastic. I can't say it enough. Alright guys, take care. We'll see you in the woods.